I hope you don't mind if I share a thought with you briefly. I had a moment of truth recently that I was sharing with a couple of people that I know. And they said, people need to hear that. You have people in your life that need to hear that. And as you'll discover as I talk about it, there were too many to try to communicate it with. So I'm doing it here in hopes that it reaches some of you, if not all of you. I had a moment of truth. I was asked to speak in my church, and I had a lot I wanted to say. I always have a lot I wanted to say. But I knew I didn't want to say what I wanted to say. So I went and I prayed. And I asked, what should I say to the people that I will address? What message can I convey that's not mine? And I prayed and I waited and I meditated and I waited. And finally, the answer was not revealed, but the words came into my head very strongly and unexpectedly. I had not been thinking of either of these ideas. Before you ask this question, you should rethink your life and repent. And you should also be more grateful. And it felt parental. And I believe God is a parent. And I was taken aback. I was heading in a different direction. It was not what I was thinking. And there it came in a sacred place. I thought about it and thought about the last few months, some crosswords to this person or that person. Nothing super major at this point in my life, but things that I shouldn't do, things that I shouldn't behave like, things in the past that I owe a couple of people some notes for. I rethought life. I was so grateful for a new motivation to treat people better, even work harder than ever to help people like you that are watching this, people I know, people that I have met, people that have subscribed to the show that I host, Bold Encounters, that means so much to me. So I did that. The second thought, be more grateful, was also a big surprise. It was weeks before Thanksgiving and had nothing to do with Thanksgiving, but I didn't think of it because of Thanksgiving. I didn't even realize we were close to Thanksgiving. I've been so busy that a few weeks seems like a long time. And so I did something really interesting. I recalled some places that mean a lot to me in text that have to do with remembering before you approach, and thinking about all the important things that have happened that are not me, but that I am blessed by, that I'm fortunate to have in my life. And the biggest things are people. And I started to do the expected. I thank God, everyone that I know, for the wife and the family that I have every single day, literally every single day, a couple times a day. And I did it again, but that clearly wasn't the message. And so I thought broader than that. And I thought of my extended family, and I started to think in chunks of what I would challenge you to try, not because of me, but just because it really helped me. And I know that it'll help you. Such a powerful experience. I went through the present, and I went to people that I work with and people that I have been colleagues with and recent clients and current clients, and thought of every single one of them individually as a person. And I got to hundreds. And I started thinking of the people in my life before that, in stages. We all live in stages, roughly the school ages, and then later in life, the phases of life. And I went back to each one, and I soon got to hundreds and hundreds. In fact, I could identify right off of my phone 1,000 people roughly that have had us given significant positivity or contributed real effect in concrete ways to me. 1,000 people. And the detail of going through each one was crazy. Then I thought about the people beyond me and my circle. And I started to think about people that I know have subscribed to my show for free, and those that are starting to subscribe to the premium to really learn how to find fulfillment in their work life. Not just money, not just fulfillment, both. And I've met most of them personally. Thousands of people I've met, and they have been so gracious and so grateful to me about the guests that I bring. And I started to think about the guests that I've had on my show. And I thought about all the people that I interviewed when I wrote a book. And I thought about all the people that I interviewed when I published a magazine. Some of the most successful people in the world Jahan Sadat, Lenny Dole, Herb Kelleher, spent the day with Dr. Lars Schlesinger, my hero Walter Payton, Ken Griffey Jr. I've spent time with some really great people, and more recently with the podcast, Ken, I can't listen, they're all there, all 70, 80, 90 people that I've interviewed, every single one in their own very unique way. Some of the most successful people there are, and they were willing to give me, who am I to give their time? But they did, and I became super grateful for them. And the combination of all of those of you that I've met, which is almost all the people that subscribe and follow and listen to my show, and those people that make it happen, both by subscribing and signing up for premium to help fund what we do, and me, and the people that are interviewed, it just overwhelmed me with gratitude. And I couldn't believe how positive I felt. Loading all of that into my working memory in one day just overwhelmed me with a positive feeling. What a powerful thing gratitude is. It is so powerful. Now, it's interesting. Sometimes bad stuff happens in life. And as I was going to another text, there's a phrase. I want to challenge you to look up a couple of things. You probably don't know where the name Ebenezer came from, that great tale and Christmas carol. And I challenge you to look at the very oldest instant of the word Ebenezer and dig deep. Use ChatGPT, use Google, whatever you want. Dig deep on its original meaning, the original language, what it really meant, what it was all about. Find places that tell the story about it. It is a really insightful thing for an individual to say, I want to do that in my own life. The second thing that I would challenge you is to find the oldest instance that you can find anywhere in any text of the phrase, count it all joy. It's a very ancient way to say, be grateful to every single situation and circumstance that happens, regardless whether it's bad or good, especially the bad ones. And it is the single one you're in, and all is all types, not just bad and good, but all colors, all varieties, all, so that you become more complete as you think through them and learn and appreciate and count them. Bring all the hundreds and thousands that you can into your working memory. Then the last thing that was really powerful to me is looking up that very old ancient version and the use in that particular instant of the word joy. It wasn't a selfish, I feel better now. It wasn't a joy that was fun as much as it was meaningful. And in that sentence, in that context, at that time, in that language, the word joy was an outward gratitude, an outward and upward gratitude. And considering with large amounts of mental work, all the learnings and all the things that are going on in that instant, and appreciating them and being grateful to them outwardly because of how they complete you and equip you in life to face even the same hard thing tomorrow. Really a powerful exercise to go through and learn about those two ideas. Last thing I wanted to just say before I quit is there's a lot of bad things that are really hard that other people do. And there's a lot of disagreement, as we all talk about right now. And I would urge you to look up and research who you can discover. Look at all that's available as far as information and historical facts, and see who had the most followers ever in history. Who, since the beginning of recorded history, who has had the most followers of anyone? Then, once you get that, in one respect, one of the greatest leaders, if not the greatest, in my opinion. But if you look that up, and whoever you get, I don't care who it is that your research points to, you can look up what was he ever or she ever challenged or asked about the most important thing to do. The most important thing. Not the 10, not the 20, not many, but what is the most important thing? And that, really going deep into that, is really a powerful thing. Because it reminded me of my need to learn how to scale better. I do a pretty good job. I've co-managed hundreds of people. We started a company once, and I took over a company. I managed 300, and I've never managed 70,000, but I've managed large groups of people to great success. But I wasn't the best. the people that I worked for were the best. I worked for billionaire Ray Norda. I worked for Stephen R. Covey. I worked for Stephen M. R. Covey. Those men are really hard for me not to worship. They walk their talk. They are so generous. They are so benevolent. They are trying to create good for everyone in their market and good for everyone around them. Really outstanding human beings. And as I thought of all this, I thought of the concept of innovation that I so love in addition to leadership. I help CEOs create 5-year plans and make them simple so that they can actually be executed, unlike many methods. I love that work. I also love innovation. And as you try to do new things and as you try to gain new perspectives, don't throw away the old. It's a pretty well-known fact that when you're innovating, you really want to keep the best 80% of something. And at most, you want to change the top 5, 10, maybe 20%. But the gap between those two numbers is really best used to eliminate things that are not useful anymore, but learn what is statistically useful to human beings, especially those that are in your shoes and in those people you serve. And don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, so to speak. When you want to do things differently, stealing on the ancient wisdom of humanity and try to do something new that extends it, improves it, but doesn't eliminate it. I'm grateful for all of you. I'm grateful for the opportunity to bring people on and try to get them to help you and do the very, very best I can. Thank you so much.